Ian, first of all, unbeaten start after what looked like a challenging weekend against two of the better teams in the league. How pleased are you 3 games in to be unbeaten so far?
Yeah, pleased to be unbeaten, but I feel like we should maybe have a couple more points. I think the point on Monday was fair enough and a strong away point, but I felt like with the nature of the game against Torquay, we probably should have had three. So I think we're pleased, but not 100% satisfied really with the return in points. But nonetheless, it's good not to lose games, and it's kind of good to have that habit of picking points in every match, and it's something to kind of build on going forward.
Has it given you an idea of how you might be able to compete against those other big clubs at the top end of the table, or are these early games? Can you not really read that much into early games of the season?
I think it's hard to read in so early because everybody's at a slightly different point, ourselves included. So I think it's encouraging that we went. If we take the Wrexham game for example, we went. It's their first time with supporters in over 2 years. It was pretty much a sellout from their perspective. Unbelievable atmosphere. They would have been so desperate to get a win in front of their own fans. So all of those things added up, together with all of the kind of signings and the noise around them. I think for us to go there and put in a performance and take something out of the game was good, because you would have kind of had all the odds stacked up at that game on TV, maybe going to as a home win. So I think for us it's like not so much reading into the teams that we've played against, but the context of that game and the fact that we came away with something in a battling performance gives me a lot of encouragement into the kind of attributes that some of the players have for the team.
And from what you've seen in those first 3 games, are you sort of roughly where you'd like to be at this early stage of the season?
I would say that I'm never quite satisfied with where we are, no matter what. I think we've had parts of the game. I mean, the whole Barnet game was great, and we had bits of the Torquay game that were very good, but also bits that we were not happy with. And the same with Wrexham. Thought I watched it back, and the first 25 minutes was a really good performance from us. They came into it a little bit, but I felt like the first half was a really good away performance, and yeah, I guess there's bits that I'm happy with and bits that I'm not. So plenty still to work on, really.
It's interesting you mentioned about Wrexham and all the noise around them and the money they've spent. I think 25 camera crews there the other night filming ready for this documentary. Yeah. And it strikes me that when Notts came down to this division, they were always the ones to beat, the big club in the division. Whereas because they're taking so much of the attention, regardless of size of club or whatever, taking so much attention, does that give you an opportunity to almost be a little bit more under the radar this season?
I think it's always going to be hard for Notts County in the National League to be under the radar, but definitely there's maybe a little bit more pressure on Wrexham, just with the kind of it's very public with the kind of signings and the way they've gone about the transfer business. Been very aggressive in the market, and they've gone big really. So from that perspective, I guess it puts them under a little bit more pressure. The expectation is even higher, but we still have high expectations for ourselves, and we want to achieve a lot. So we kind of understand that we're also ones that people want to come to Meadow Lane, and it's without doubt the best stadium to come and play at. So we know we're also a target for people that they want to come here and try and get something out of the game.
Yeah, and I guess you get that this weekend, don't you, where the expectation is completely back on you because you're at home, because you're Notts County, because of everything else, but also you're up against a team who've had a difficult start. So a very different game this weekend to the two you played last weekend.
Yeah, I think it maybe is a bit more like the Torquay game after they had a man sent off, which was competing against a very well drilled, well organised defensive block, very difficult to break down and resilient. And I imagine Aldershot will come here off the back of 3 probably disappointing results from their perspective, but I know that they're better than the table and their first 3 results would indicate. And they'll certainly pose a difficult physical test, and they'll be very well organised. So it'll be, the onus is on us to kind of attack the game and put our stamp on it.
It was transfer deadline day this week. I know that didn't particularly affect you, but did you keep across it at all? Is that something you sort of paid much attention to, with so much happening elsewhere around the country and the divisions above?
No, I didn't really pay attention at all, as I knew that it didn't really affect us. unless someone wanted to buy one of our players. But then I just turn my phone off for the day, and I know that then I'm safe when that closes. But it's like, yeah, I mean, we know with us, the window and the opportunity to bring players in is still open, so it didn't stress me too much. I don't really follow that. I saw some of the moves that went on, but we're kind of focused on ourselves a little bit.
It strikes me that the way Notts do business in the market, that actually maybe deadline day might never really be an issue for Notts, even when you get into the league, that because the amount of long-term planning and looking into the players and the way you do it, that actually you may not become one of those clubs that are rushing around on deadline day.
Yeah, I mean, most of our work is a culmination of a lot of different things that go, the stats, the data, combined with all of the other information that we get and our scouting reports. So I guess that we're doing that over a long period of time, and that culminates in us doing our business a little bit earlier. But obviously, if we were to sell a player, then that could happen on transfer deadline day, and then you've also got to be prepared for that. So it could be that we're affected by it, but I think with the way that we plan, we don't want to be stressed in the market. We want to be ahead of the game a little bit so we can build a team and work with it.
Conversely, I suppose, from their club's point of view, they're done. They can just sort of put that to one side now until January. But because you're never finished, do you in your head think, no, my squad's ready, it's done, or is that always an option to be looking to improve and go and sign other players?
I think we always look to improve, but we also have to trust the players that we've brought in. We've brought in good players, and some have started and played a lot, and some are coming into it. And I know Cairo was part of the press conference, and he made his first start and has really been impressing us with the way in which he's gone about his business since he's been here. So we've brought these players in, and we want to trust that they're going to bring what we thought they would. That's really important for me. But at the same time, you can pick up an injury, a couple of suspensions, a couple of cancelled games, and then you get a lot, and you maybe need to go into the loan market or look to strengthen at that point. So I think we always leave options open for it to improve. But at the same time, at this moment, I'm not stressed. I don't we wouldn't lose a couple of games and suddenly panic and think we need to go and get a load of players in, because then you end up stockpiling players and it's counterproductive. So we've got a good squad, and we really want to work hard with this team of players to get better.
Good stuff, Ian. Thank you very much. I'll stop there and carry on.
Top man, thanks.
Hi Ian, thanks very much.
Hiya.
I'll just ask you to look back on those games of the weekend, then those two draws against two big teams, and I guess given the quality of those teams, a draw is not a bad result. But is there anything you think could have been improved on in either or both of those games?
Yeah, I mean, Torquay, I know that they pressed us really aggressively, and there was a general feeling like they were on top for that first period, and they did press us quite well, and it disrupted our build-up a little bit. But at the same time, they left themselves 3v3 a lot, which is a great situation for us to be in. And once we recognised that and went through their pressure quickly, we suddenly created, Ruben hit the post, Cal had a big chance, Woods went through twice one-on-one, and in the end someone was sent off. So I actually think we kind of combated the high press really well. I was more disappointed with how we played when we played against 10, because we were a little bit risk averse and a bit passive and didn't really go for the game and take bigger risks and move the ball with more intensity. So that in the Torquay game I wish that I'd seen more of. I felt like we came up against a totally different team in Wrexham that again pressed us quite high. I thought first half we dealt with it quite well, a few ball losses but nothing major, and in the second half at 1-0, and then they got the momentum. I just think that we had to cope with a lot of set plays and long throws, and I thought we did that really well. I think I would have just liked to have seen us take back the initiative a few more times against Wrexham and try to have the ball a little bit more and with a bit more quality. But at the same time, two games in 3 days, and the quality of the games was high. So I also understand why we had a few technical errors in there.
You mentioned Kyle Watson. He scored 3 times in as many games in each of those games. I'm sure you won't have been surprised, but what have you made of his performance?
Yeah, I mean, really, really satisfied. I mean, since I've come in, Woods has been brilliant. Both not just in how he plays, but his general application. You know, he's a great lad, hungry to learn, improve, brilliant around the group. That's why he's, you know, one of the kind of leaders of the group this year, being vice captain. And I'm not surprised at all that he started off in the way that he has, with 3 goals in 3 games. He's working hard every day on the training pitch to get better, and it's reflected in his performances. I mean, not only that, I think some of his numbers in terms of running and output was scary when we look back at them on Monday, considering he played 90 on Saturday. To then produce that kind of output again, leading the line, was superb. So I think physically he's outstanding as well.
Is that something you stress and you work on a lot with the players, the data from games? Do you go into it in what sort of detail and depth do you go into it with?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the football stats, that's probably something that we'd look at, you know, passes, who's making the passes, where are they going, where are our ball losses, where are chances that we're creating. But then the physical output, kind of Ian Hutton and the medical team will bring that to me, and we'll discuss that, because that can also influence the training during the week. But it's great to see, you know, I think we some of our running numbers are excellent, and we're really covering a lot of ground at high intensity. Of course, the poorest game was Torquay, but we didn't need to run as much because we were playing such a low block, so that's why. But against Wrexham, it was quite an impressive output.
Any injuries? Anyone unavailable for Aldershot?
No, everybody's fit, and you know, we had Tyrese Palmer back training a little bit today, and Lewis Knight was back out on the pitch, albeit with the physios. So, and everybody else is in good shape. So we've got no. Thankfully, you know, it is a possibility when you play 2 games in 3 days. If you don't manage it right, you get some fallout from that. But I think we rotated the team like we needed to, and everybody's fresh.
What do you expect from Aldershot?
One more time.
Sorry, what do you expect from Aldershot?
I expect a team that, you know, they've had probably be very disappointed with their start, and I'm sure they've been working extremely hard on the training ground to get it right. So they know they need to come here and get something out of the game, and I think they'll be very hungry to prove themselves and get their season started. So I think we'll face a team that's extremely motivated, extremely hard-working and well-organised. They'll certainly not be coming here to be easy to open up and play against. So I think we'll really have to work hard to put ourselves on the game.